Hi, friends.
Hi, friends. Sorry for the gross burp intro. All right. So
So, it's not spooky season,
it's post spooky season,
and it's not Christmas season.
but it's time we give thanks to the movie that's in between both seasons.
Even though some call it a nightmare.
And others call it a jingle.
I was trying to make a pun.
Yeah, I was just trying to go off of it and then
You ruined it.
I ruined it. Welcome to the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Hello, friends. Yes, Nightmare Before Christmas. If you haven't already guessed by the thumbnail.
Or just my horrible of ruining the pun.
Yeah, very bad. No, we figured that, there's not really anything good to really put between Thanksgiving, between Halloween and Christmas.
We can't do a Thanksgiving special.
So, Nightmare Before Christmas, because it counts as both.
And there is a Thanksgiving door.
There is.
Does that mean okay, so there's an Easter door.
Do you think it has an Easter bunny or a Jesus?
No, the Easter bunny does come out in the movie.
That is true. He does. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but we don't see the Irish little man come out because there's also a four-leaf clover door.
And there's a Valentine's Day door.
Yeah. I was talking about
I'm curious about the Thanksgiving door because everything else has like some kind of like supernatural-esque thing associated with it, except Thanksgiving is
pilgrims
and Native Americans,
yeah,
which
and
is all American history.
yeah. So me and my roommate, he actually watched this. My roommate actually watched this with me though, and we were talking about this because I'm like, what if they franchised the rest of the Nightmare Before Christmas and made it the rest of the doors? So we could see the rest
I
of the
would be
doors.
intrigued. I think it'd be funny to see a war between the Valentine's Day door and the St. Patrick's Day door. That would be funny. Little leprechauns versus angel babies.
It's love day. It's drinking and good luck. Well, I mean,
their projectiles are arrows and gold coins.
that'd be so. And the leprechauns could travel over the rainbow to get to their pot of gold.
Until a flying baby steals the pot of gold and moves the rainbow.
Oh, you luck of the Irish. Which we actually did go over that movie.
I don't want to talk about it. Do not want to talk about it.
Okay, well.
But no. So, do you like Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of it.
Why?
I understand the premise of the movie. Don't get me wrong. I just don't see what all the hype is for. Like, don't get me wrong. I love the style of movie because claymation movies like that, like Wallace and Gromit, the original Rudolph, like those are hard movies to make. And so I absolutely appreciate how extensive this movie is, given
I was like, the clay is so nice.
Yes.
Except when you see all of the all the licensed stuff of Nightmare Before Christmas, which I recently made one not that long ago. I should have brought him. I brought I made the Boogeyman at Build-A-Bear.
Oogie Boogie.
Yeah, he's so cute. And he sings his song.
'Cause I'm the Boogeyman.
Whoa. Whoa.
Whoa. No. No, don't get, and I appreciate the music.
Mr. Santa Claus.
I love that song. I like the songs of the movie. But I'm like, the plot to me is kind of meh, and the characters are interesting, don't get me wrong. But like Sally,
I really don't like Sally that much, if I'm being honest.
Sally is just a fangirl. She stalks Jack. They don't really have that much interaction throughout the entire movie, nor romantic chemistry until the very end, where he sees the like doctor guy that made Sally with his man-made girlfriend,
Hmm.
and he's like, "Oh wait, I want one of those, Sally." Like they don't really drum up their romantic
The one thing
sides, and it bugs me that that's like a huge marketing thing is like their relationship, and
Jack and Sally, yeah.
I'm like, it's not a big part of the movie.
Honestly, my favorite characters was always Jack Skellington and the Boogeyman.
For me, it's Lock, Shock, and Barrel, like these boys.
The mask, I
Yeah,
mean, but those are actually pretty good masks.
you were did really good at that. So when we were in college,
We had this
every
thing called Deck the Halls.
yeah, so every dorm had like a little like big event that they would put on throughout the year and stuff, and our dorms would do this thing called Deck the Halls, where basically
The
the
first floor.
the first two halls on the floor, because we had an east hall and a west hall, um we would basically decorate the halls to basically walk people through a movie, a Christmas movie of some kind. and
My hall was Nightmare Before Christmas.
and the west the no east hall was Polar Express. I say the east hall because it wasn't my hall, because I was on the second floor, and first east was all women.
Yeah.
And so the east hall was Polar Express, and I got to be the train conductor for that.
So were
And
you in the fishbowl for that?
yeah, we took the fishbowl.
Yeah. Um, all I, I mean, I also had a track and field thing that night, which was kind of interesting because I think me and Savannah, we gave up our room for Deck the Halls because that was one of the things, because this Sean obviously was on the men's floor, so he couldn't be a part of this. But for us women, we had to sign up if we would be okay with cutting off a portion of our dorm room so it could be tarped up for Deck the Halls and people to enter
Yeah,
them.
because that would be like where the scenes were.
Yeah.
And I don't remember much about your guys' side, like because at the end they basically had each respective side because there was like actors and such involved in it,
I
like me being the train conductor, so I couldn't go through and see their
yeah.
side. So at the very end,
I went through both of them though. I do remember that, and I just remember the one we shall not name was on Nightmare Before Christmas
yeah,
side.
he played
Yeah.
he did Jack.
Yeah.
But um I remember the Nightmare Before Christmas side just not being that well done.
My masks were good though.
Yeah, your side was good. I think the problem with it was just there was a lot to pack in. You guys didn't have that many rooms.
Yeah.
Like my side, it was really cool because like we had like the hot chocolate scene and stuff. And hell, I got to be the train conductor. That was my favorite part.
Yeah, not a lot of the girls wanted to give up their rooms.
Not on your side's side.
Yeah. And also like our side didn't have as many like quad or triple rooms, they were essentially all doubles.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel like just my side, the way the story worked out and what we had available, it worked out really nicely.
I just remember I went to a track and field thing, went to the Coeur d'Alene Resort, had a gooey, came back, and if no one knows what a gooey is, um, there's this restaurant in at the Coeur d'Alene Resort. It's called Dockside. Um, you get these ice creams that are in goblets, and they put like these really decorative cookies on them, and then they like put all these other things, but they're huge. But they call them gooeyes. And I remember that day I had the Cookie Monster. And it was great because I got a chocolate chip cookie that was painted with the Cookie Monster's face on it. And then I got like this chocolate chip ice cream. And then, anyways, after that, came back, did deck the halls. And then I think we honestly got McChickens after that.
Um, you want to know something kind of cool?
Hmm.
So when I was a sophomore in high school,
Hmm.
my high school band got to go to Disneyland and stuff for a trip. But the thing about like music programs that get to go to like Disneyland and stuff, there's special opportunities along with it. So our collective groups, because we had a concert band and a wind ensemble, we were combined for this, but we actually got to go to backstage Disney through Toontown, so off like through like one of the like, employee only entrances.
Hmm.
Um, and actually got to use their recording studios.
Oh wow.
And after like we would warm up and stuff, and we actually got to work with a well-known director. He actually like worked on the Jungle Book soundtrack and stuff. Was part of Dancing with the Stars orchestra when they had an orchestra.
I re-
Like he was a really well-known guy.
so was your family really invested in Dancing with the Stars? I will let you finish, but then afterwards answer that question.
For the most part, yeah, until Tyra Banks came. I liked it until Tyra Banks came.
I was like, I remember I loved it when they like then introduced Dancing with the Stars on Ice.
I remember when that started and never got into it.
Okay, me who did figure skating for such a long time, I was so ecstatic when that came out. But I'm also now thinking about the logistics of it, having to teach someone who's never done ice skating before and there's such a short amount of time. That sucks.
Yeah. Anyways, so something we got to do is that they actually handed us excerpts of instrumental portions of Disney movies.
Hmm.
And so we actually got to play like the Disney intro, um, the intro into What's This,
Hmm.
and they would record us. And like it was like full like recording. So we would have like the headphones on that had the metronome going and stuff, and they would record us and actually put it with the scene from the movie. And so here we are watching the scene where like he falls into the hole and you hear that bum 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 bum. Like we're actually watching that scene with what we just recorded. So we're actually listening to ourselves in that moment.
That's gotta be so fun.
It was so unbelievably cool.
How harsh were you on it though?
They weren't harsh. So all year, all school year, we were practicing sight reading and stuff because we weren't, it wasn't like we had time to prep for this. So they had to make sure that we were up to par to make this as good as it can be, you know, because like you're recording this and putting it with a movie scene.
Hmm.
Obviously, the movies are released, so it's not like they're changing it or anything, but still, it's really cool. And you want it to be like at its best and stuff. And so, like, we did like three or four like excerpts. I don't remember what the other ones were, unfortunately. I remember that one and the Disney intro, like,
I'm sorry.
distinctly.
I'm just thinking because remember like when in band you'd have to go to if you chose to sign up for this, but like you would do like a solo ensemble thing and then
Solo and ensemble, yeah.
yeah. Anyways, I qualified for state in that one and
Hmm.
had to go to Moses Lake and
Yeah.
do state.
I thought it was Ellensburg.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
My district was in a different area.
But state is state.
I think was it I don't know. I just
I
remember
remember it being Ellensburg.
maybe we went different years.
I didn't never went to state, but this is what our director told us.
Oh, yeah. So I went to it was like in the Moses Medical Lake area. I just remember that. Um, but you're given your music like 2 days before you go, and then you learn that music all in one day, and then you have to perform a concert at the end of that day. So stressful.
Yeah.
And
But
I played French horn.
mhm.
Mm-hmm. My lips were so red
I believe it.
and so puffy and started bleeding by the end of the day.
I know the feeling with marching band.
Also, you know how gross the French horn section is? Well, like we were all sitting in a pool, a puddle of our own spit. It was gross.
No. But no, like I think that like every time I watch this movie, like that in that moment, like all I can remember is like the fact like, oh yeah, I actually was able to record that scene before.
Oh,
I wish I had copies of it. I wish.
sorry, I finally remembered where I was going on this tangent to close it all up. Anyways, the director, I just remember he would like hound each individual sections on like our sight reading, and then he's like, go bump, like hit the specific points, and like we would sit there and continuously replay it until it was the right way, and then we got it like 5 times in a row. There was so many times he stopped us. Like not specifically the French horns. There was like maybe 3 times he stopped the French horns, and that was just to our crescendo. into the songs that we were playing because he's like, French horns, be louder. I want to hear the music. Because if no one really knows French horns, they're very beautiful sounding.
They get all the fun, cool parts
Yeah,
in a
like
lot of movie soundtracks.
they're very majestical sounding, but French horn is the hardest brass instrument there is.
It really is. The partials, oh, the partials.
And I had a double B flat horn.
Ugh.
So, like, in addition to that, once I got past A, everything then had to use a thumb valve and then had different fingerings. And it was just a mess.
Circling back to Nightmare,
Yes.
because you brought up kidnapping Mr. Sandy Claus.
Hi,
Do you
Mr.
remember?
Santa
Do you
Claus.
remember the corn version? It's like the heavy metal version.
No.
Oh, I gotta show you it after this. I was addicted to it in high school.
The corn version?
I was a group. It was corn with a K. Here,
Oh,
let me see your phone real quick. What we're gonna get a live reaction.
okay.
I'll bring it up.
I was like, we're purposely not going to look at a text. Hey, it's kicking back on. Yay! Okay, so the air conditioning in this room is kind of effed up at the moment, and we're dying. Sorry, we might got ads. Oh, Mr. Santa Claus. Oh. Oh my gosh, I have heard this. Okay, never mind. I guess I did know. I just didn't realize.
Love that version so much. I don't know. I feel like it has. I love the drive that it has,
Hmm.
and like, don't get me wrong. Like the regular one from the movie is like, I love how playful and mischievous it is. But this one, like, I just like, yes, let's go, 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 go. Like,
So, going into the Santa Claus, obviously we're coming into the boogeyman at this point.
I never understood his role in this movie.
He's he's just the boogeyman.
He's played off to be the villain, but we don't. This entire movie has just been chill, 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 chill. And yeah, obviously Jack has his adversity to Boogie because he tells the kids right beforehand, keep that no good Oogie Boogie out of this, blah, blah, blah. And then they go over to Oogie Boogie and say that they're going to give him to Oogie Boogie or whatever.
Yeah.
But, it's like,
So would it really be the kids though then who are the villain?
the kids are more of a villain than Oogie Boogie. Oogie Boogie, what, holds them hostage?
And he tries to kill him.
But why?
He's the boogeyman
But why?
because he's the boogeyman. Do we need any more of an explanation? I was gonna say though, onto the point of the boogeyman. The first time I watched The Nightmare Before Christmas, I think I was like 8 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oogie Boogie scared the shit out of me
I can see why.
because like all of his weird little trinkets that he had in his room with the guns and things like that scared me at first, but then like as I got older, I like started to love his room. It's like it's kind of weird because
Mm-hmm.
it's like this poker room and it has like different um you have craps in there, you have the um roulette. There's a whole bunch of like gambling. Obviously he's gambling their life, but there's like all of these weird little hidden messages. Oh, there was also obviously with the guys with the guns, there's a Russian roulette. There we go. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I just think it's a cool room and how they manage to like turn something that is like, something fun into like something scary at the same time. And yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think I've grown to like Oogie Boogie a little bit more as time has gone on.
exactly.
I just feel like
If anything, I think the doctor is more of a villain.
he's awful to Sally.
Me,
Like, like sees her as property.
Yeah, like every time I get bad vibes from the doctor every time, and
He's creepy. He's like the kid. He's the guy we tell our kids to stay away from.
I was like trigger warning, but like he gives off vibes of an like yeah. He definitely has the characteristics of someone who would um do trafficking and essaying and things that are not okay.
Yeah. Um.
So I feel like if anyone is like looking for signs of a type of person who might be like that, look at the doctor.
Yeah. I wish I understood more of like what Halloween meant to this town. Like, let's take what we do know. The movie opens with the most iconic Halloween sound ever. This is Halloween.
This is how.
And then once it's over, they're like, nice job, everyone. Way better than last year. And then they like give out a couple awards, and then it's like, that's it. I'm like, do you guys just prep a giant musical number for the entire year? Like, what exactly is Halloween to you guys? Like, Christmas, Santa's doing the presents,
They're
delivers.
getting ready to gift things to children. He's checking his list
Mhm.
twice.
So, what exactly is the goal of Halloween to this town? What do they prep for? Is it a festival? Is it just the musical number that we saw? What exactly is going on here? You know? And like, I don't know. This movie has never been like, except for besides the music, it's never been like high on my list. And I think it's because it just bothers me how unnecessarily mainstream this movie is and is used as,
It's
like
definitely used as a licensing prop because
harshly.
yeah, and I really don't like the Sally and Jack. I have never gotten anything of Sally and Jack together. I have only ever gotten Jack, Boogie, and Zero.
Well, Jack and Sally, it doesn't make sense. It's
No.
not it's never a plot point until the very end for some unnecessary reason.
Yeah.
And it bugs me because like I went to Disneyland last year. Me and Megan went to Disneyland last year for Halloween. It was like all Halloweened up. We were having a blast, and it was on our bucket list to see the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay of Haunted Mansion.
Hmm.
And we love Haunted Mansion. It's Megan's favorite ride. It's my favorite ride. We just love it a lot. It's one that's near and dear to our hearts. And don't get me wrong, the way they overlaid Haunted Mansion with Nightmare Before Christmas was pretty cool, especially with the stretching room scene
Hmm.
and how they did it and everything. But it bothers me because they had that, and then they have their like their fireworks show basically,
Hmm.
and it was once again filled to the brim with Nightmare Before Christmas. And then their little Halloween party that they have, because like Disney World has Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party.
Hmm.
What did they have over at Disneyland California Adventure? Oogie Boogie Bash. And I'm like, why is this the thing that they're pushing when Disney has so many more Halloween media, so much more Halloween media between the literal Haunted Mansion movies, Halloween Town, which
Hmm.
obviously they get some inspo from Halloween Town because of the giant Mickey pumpkin and stuff. But you know what I mean?
I mean, eventually we'll have to, this will be a later subject topic, but it's almost similar to Stitch in a way.
How?
Like, Stitch is also highly licensed.
Stitch is highly licensed because it was weirdly popular. Stitch is licensed a lot in merch,
Yeah.
like, but not really like anywhere else. They capitalize where they capitalize in media and entertainment in the parks, but it's just merch at this point.
Yeah.
Like they had Stitch's greatest
Like, anything you go to buy, there has to be a Stitch version of it.
because Stitch is just fun, and at least his pairing with Angel makes sense.
I was like, don't get me wrong, I still like Lilo and Stitch. I'm just like
I know,
a lot of
devil's
license.
advocate.
Yeah. just a lot of overbranding, in my opinion.
I agree. Like when we were in Disneyland, um, we went on the tour that they had there that's like only available during like the Halloween time.
Mhm.
And it talked a lot about how Disneyland and Halloween really went like hand in hand. Like there's a lot of unique things about Halloween that fit with Disneyland and like its history and everything, like the Haunted Mansion and stuff. And it's weird to me that a place that has such a deep appreciation and for Halloween only capitalizes on it through Nightmare.
Yeah.
Like they've gotten Hocus Pocus up a little bit. They have over recent years. But
Okay, I kind of we need to get into this like a future episode, but like Hocus Pocus 2, and I mean I know this because I worked at Walgreens at the time, but it is a partnership with Walgreens. So Walgreens can receive sales. And because
for
if you,
the one scene,
well, and then they keep like doing little signals throughout the whole movie that that go back to Walgreens.
I'll have to rewatch it.
Yeah, it's
But
kind of annoyed it for me.
fair. But it's I just to me Nightmare Before Christmas isn't is lackluster to be receiving all of that over branding, you know? Like the story is like, yeah, it's a fun story. You know, guys from people from Halloween trying to steal Christmas because they think Christmas is fun and they F it up in a
So
very Halloween way. But
I think you might appreciate this.
hmm,
Okay. Do you remember the tissue kids um for the for marketing of like Puff's lotion?
yes,
Okay.
they look like the kids in Nightmare.
Yes. I was just gonna show you a picture of
I
it.
as soon as you went brought up the kids, it popped into my head and I realized that.
Yeah, so I like I said, I was watching this with my roommate, and he he's like, every time I watch this movie, I just think about the Puffs Lotion kids. And I was like, what? And then I was like, oh my God, I see it now. And now, like every time I watch this movie now, I'm just gonna think, you're a sick Puff Lotion kid.
Well, and like it's funny that you bring that up because Megan was constantly saying about how she hates the Santa Claus in this movie, and she thinks the kids in the movie are ugly and creepy as fuck.
And they do look like they just look like more sick version than the sick Puff Lotion kids.
It's true.
Hey, Puff Lotion, if you really need some sick kids, you should hire Tim Burton and whoever else made this movie to get some real sick kids for your Puff Lotions.
Well, it's funny because I understand Tim Burton has his like style in how he makes movies and stuff. It's
Yeah.
very distinctive, and you can see that in like Wednesday, this movie, Beetlejuice.
And I mean, the most prevalent one that people talk about is The Corpse's Bride. And
Yes.
when, because it was a TikTok trend, but like there's like a thing where like people would go like, and try and like really exaggerate these features and make them look like, essentially make them look like they're on drugs.
Yep. But I don't know. I just this movie is just like a one and done a season for me. Like I won't watch it again for the rest of the year. Within the next year until next Halloween, maybe one time.
I mean,
It just
I'll watch it a few times throughout the year, but that's because I actually like the movie. And I see that you don't really see much other like not major clear movie points into it and that it's just kind of like meh throughout the whole movie. But for me, it's more of just like a visual appreciation of everything that went through.
well,
Like,
that's the thing. I do appreciate it.
yeah, no, I know you
I
do.
love the claymation. I love the music and stuff. It's not my niche of kind of movie.
But I mean, like at the same time, At the beginning of the movie, we can obviously see that Jack is depressed, and Sally's fangirling over this guy who's depressed, and she's like, I relate. And then it's like, no, not really. You two both
He's
have your.
well, he's like I feel like it's less depression and more like existential crisis.
No, I think it's depression because,
At least a little bit of both, because he is having an existential crisis.
yeah, because like he he isn't the mayor of the town, but he's definitely the idolized icon of the town.
The mayor is a figurehead. He literally says, "I'm just an elected official. I can't make decisions myself."
Yeah. And like people obviously look up to Jack, but like they never actually bother having a conversation with him.
No, they just all admire him.
Yeah.
Like,
And so anything that Jack does, they follow.
yep.
And so they don't really like he's not really leaning on anyone, to talk to about things. And he's never really inspired because no one's inspiring him. He
Mhm.
doesn't have anything to look up to, which is why I see a lot more depression in him, is because he feels hopeless. He doesn't see anything. He doesn't see a future. And so, of course, when he comes across these doors, he sees an opportunity for something new. And of course, the Christmas tree with the bulbs is like a lot more interesting because that's shiny, glittery, woo, goes in the door, and then he's just like, wow, like this is so interesting. Let me learn more. And he's like trying to know everything about Christmas, but obviously he goes to the scientist to go figure that out. And he's still, it's not clicking in his head yet that, because we see him testing all of the bulbs, testing like any toy, anything from the actual land
Literally,
itself.
literally trying to scientifically explain his warm fuzzies.
Yeah, he's testing everything in the Christmas land, and he's trying to understand why these people are giving to one another and why they have this spirit of upliftingness, and like why he doesn't. And so like I feel like he's trying to come to a self-realization throughout the whole progression of the movie. So like I really, really only do like Jack in this movie. And I think that's very common, but he's definitely trying to figure things out because he is in a slump of his life, and he's definitely at the lowest, and he wants something far greater than what he is doing in the town. And he thinks that replicating and being Santa Claus himself will fix everything, and it doesn't.
I
I do
I
appreciate he tried to step in his shoes, though.
I relate to the sense that Jack felt like I want to replicate this feeling I had. I want to understand why this is the way it is.
But the way that Jack also failed in this presentation too, because he obviously wanted everyone in Halloween Town to feel what he was feeling.
Like he couldn't replicate it. Like he
Yeah.
even said like they don't like he's like they're not getting it.
And of course they're not going to get it because they're people from Halloween. And for them, everything is nightmares and terrors and this like dark scenic view. And he's just like, yeah, that's great, because he has a plan, he has a goal. He's being the entrepreneur in this situation, and he just sees the outcome that's going to come after this of children receiving their presents and joyful singing and this and that, and he's going to be Santa Claus and all these fun things and bringing joy. But he didn't. And this is where I'm sorry, I hate to bring it like in a management perspective. But like this is kind of the easiest way for me to communicate it, was he failed at being a leader because he wasn't leading. He was instructing, but he wasn't teaching. And the people weren't understanding that at all, and they didn't care to understand it because they were told something by their leader, so they did it.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't plan to re-talk to them and like figure everything else out again, and check up on their projects and being like, let me see how you're doing. Like, yes, he did, but he overglanced everything and didn't to see like, oh, like we want it to look more like this because this is our objective, is to bring joy and happiness to the children. And I mean, this could also be a little controversial, especially to our viewers, because he is from Halloween Town. Not Halloween Town from the previous ones of the previous episodes we've done, but um, because he is from Halloween, maybe it's because, it could be controversial that he happiness does come from like terror and things like that, and his people making those type of toys and things, they like he could see that possibly bringing happiness, but um in my perspective, I think he would have still wanted to produce what Santa Claus did,
Well,
just not with the
I think
sock puppet heads.
I think that Jack, if I'm really like analyzing from a story perspective, trying to think about like Halloween Town, like this Halloween Town and the people within it, I think what Jack failed to see that he ended up learning was, if you really look at the This Is Halloween song,
Mhm.
what is it? It's
Terrors.
no, it's a celebration of everyone in the town. I'm the clown with the tearaway face. I am the shadow in the moonlight. I'm the wind going through your hair. Like it's going creature by creature,
Yeah.
showing how they're different and celebrating that and what that means for them. And yeah, it's Halloween, scares, frights, woohoo, but it's like it's celebrating all those different kinds of creatures. You get to Jack. Yeah, he's the pumpkin king, all that stuff. But he's like, I'm just what is the pumpkin king? You know? Like all of the other creatures have this special unique thing about them, and I'm the pumpkin king, but I don't even know what that means.
Yeah,
And
and
then he gets to Christmas and he feels this warm, fuzzy feeling, and he wants that, but only to end up learning that's not him, and realizing who he is and being able to celebrate in that.
yeah.
Because that's something that we talked about in the Halloween Town movies, of how diverse the Halloween Town in those movies is.
Well, I think he was also trying to replicate Santa Claus because, like, I think he saw himself in Santa Claus because Santa Claus is obviously this highlighted figure in their town of
Mm-hmm.
Christmas. And I think Jack really saw himself in there and seeing, like, doing good for others, but he was so caught up in the image and trying to fixate on this feeling of, um, okay, it's unlocked, of bringing happiness that, he failed to see how he was, because the people in the town weren't even happy with what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he failed to see that, he was bringing the people down. And um, I definitely think there's a lot more to the Nightmare Before Christmas. And I definitely really only care about Jack's perspective. um, the music is great, though. And the visual aesthetics are great. What are you looking for?
I'm looking at the lyrics at for Jack's
Oh,
Lament.
I was like, "What?"
Like he literally goes down like, I am this, I'm this. Like I'm the master of fright, a demon of light. Like I can take off my head. Like I can do this, I can do that. But I'm tired of it. Like he's literally like, an emptiness is growing. I'm tired of just Jack's the Pumpkin King.
This is why I think he seriously suffers from depression.
Depression, identity crisis, existential crisis. Like it's a rediscovering of himself.
Because, like, when I look at Jack, I see myself in him a bit, someone who does deal with a decent amount of depression, And this is multiple conversations I've had with my therapist so many times is we both know I'm a pretty successful person.
Mm-hmm.
And I do all these great things, but at the end of the day, like when I talk to my therapist, it's still, who am I? Because, like, I do all these great things. I'm in school, I'm educating myself, I'm very successful. That's great and all, but who is that to me?
I find myself battling that same question because if to me, looking at my life, it always, I can't help but feel like there's a line drawn down the middle of my life because, like, growing up, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm a band kid. I love band. I'm doing all of like my band stuff, going to school for music, all this stuff. And then there was this line called the pandemic, and then that's just gone. I was worked in a restaurant and now I'm working in a hospital. And don't get me wrong, I love my job and I'm doing so many like great things, but I'm like,
And now you're a dad.
and now I'm a dad, which that has always existed as something I wanted. But like that like clean break of like what I thought I was getting out of life and my experiences and what I remember feeling, and it's not here anymore. You
Yeah.
know?
And I mean, I still haven't like given up on my dreams, but it's clear I left a passion of mine, which was the kitchen. And I went into accounting, but that honestly, I think I'm starting to like figure out more of myself though through accounting because I very much am a numbers person.
That's how I felt with my feel with my job right now. Like I feel like I'm learning a lot more about like where
Because,
I find my drive.
yeah, because I've definitely realized like I physically can't cook that much anymore. Like, I love it, but I can't do industrial sized cooking anymore. It's not something my body can handle because there's too much nerve damage in my hands from breaking them so many times.
I don't think I could go back to playing the saxophone as much as I used to.
Yeah. And
That performance space is not for me as much anymore. I
and I
mean,
know people,
podcast, but that's different.
yeah. I definitely see myself as more of an admin or an overseer of a kitchen, and helping in regards of that. And it's kind of interesting because being in the grad program, my professors are like, that's the hardest industry to be in, which is very true. It definitely is because profit margins are very low. You have to deal with a lot of um, wages and things like that. And it's like earning money from a kitchen is very hard to do. But um, I always liked the challenge part of that. And so, like, me being now on the accounting side of things for a different company, I really can see myself like excelling in new ways that like I feel fulfilled with because I get to do that puzzle making in different ways and not feel like there's no purpose to it. Because, like, when I was cooking, like, yes, do I enjoy creating food? Absolutely. But at the same time, it's just like at the end of the day, someone's eating my food. And that's it, and then I gotta recreate it again? I'm not, like, at making an actual impact on the company itself.
Yeah, for me, it's like with my experience with music, like growing up, like I enjoyed playing music, don't get me wrong, but I never had the same drive compare for that compared to what I do as being a nursing assistant because I am pushing on my health system strongly for us. And like I could see like reasons why that could be the case. Like I could say like I see where I'm at now and where I want it to be
Mhm,
because I know things don't have to be that way.
mhm.
But when I was playing music in band and stuff, it was just continue on with concert band.
Yeah,
I didn't have a stake in this is where I'm at and I need to push myself to grow to here and stuff. It's being a musician is completely entrepreneurship.
absolutely.
And I didn't have that drive because I didn't know anything. Like if I could go back, yeah, of course I would do festivals and things like that and try to do more stuff to build myself because I know that now.
You have to
Getting
put yourself out.
getting to getting into college and only then being able to learn what I would have needed to be at to be successful, I was it would have taken a long shot for me to be a music major with where I was at going in. And like I miss that joy that I had playing music very much. Like I do resonate with Jack in that way where it's like he never says he hates what he does. He just wants something
He
more.
feels lost.
He's lost. He's like, I'm good at all of these things. He's acknowledging that, but where do I go with this?
Yeah, no.
And
He
I,
wanted to have a purpose with Halloween, like Santa Claus did.
exactly. And that's how I felt with my music career. And don't get me wrong, like in a way, in a roundabout way, I'm kind of like re-entering back. Like I'm using a lot of the skills I have from then with this podcast
Yeah.
and stuff, but I don't know, like I hate to say it, you kind of are twisting my arm on Nightmare a little bit as we're like psychoanalyzing Jack.
I'm telling you, this is why I like the movie.
Well, it's like again, like I don't hate the movie. It was just never up there as a movie that like
This is just why I like the movie, though. Why I'm okay with watching it multiple times a year.
I do have to say I'm not a fan of Sally's song. Like
I'm
I like Jack's lament. I'm not a fan of Sally's song.
I'm not a fan of Sally. I'm not a fan of the Doctor.
The mayor's just dumb.
Yeah. And for Santa Claus to say like Sally's the only normal person in the town, I'm like, that's a bit far fetched.
Yeah. Megan doesn't like Sally either. I do give her props on just sewing herself back up and throwing herself out a window though.
Like, I really see Sally as a victim of abuse, and she really did idolize Jack, who was free. But of course, he didn't do much with his freedom because he was in his own spiel of who am I? What do I do with this? And all this great talent. Sally's just like, but Jack, you could be doing all these great, like, obviously she admired him and she saw so much potential in him that he didn't see in himself. But she obviously saw that. But at the same time, like, she was a victim
Mm-hmm.
and she was trying to get out of her situation.
Yeah, because the doctor was an abuser to her.
Yeah, and she was trying to find a scapegoat and um, you know, not not that that's wrong, Victims definitely do whatever they need to do to survive. But um, I don't I just think their relationship, like, they didn't have much bonding. He finally saw, Sally's perspective towards the end of the movie when, like, I think Jack finally kind of realized Sally at the end when he was just like,
Yeah, but we never understood the relationship between them.
yeah,
Like,
because there definitely is no bond between them.
well, because look at the few interactions they had. She gave him a basket
Mm-hmm.
by sending it like sending it up to his window from the ground,
Mm-hmm.
which is strong fangirl vibes. And then they had the interaction where he's like giving everyone a job. And he's like, I need you to make me the Santa Claus outfit.
But he also did pay attention that she sewed. But also there was when he went to the doctor to ask for materials, and just that small brief interaction where she was just like,
Yeah,
"Oh my gosh, Jack's here," type of thing.
yeah. But
But
but no, that's the thing. Like, you don't really like. Are they actually friends? Are they like? Do they just like know each other from being in the same town? Obviously.
I think Disney would benefit better because at the end, it's clear how much she idolized him when Santa Claus brought snow to their town, to kind of give a weird thanks. But
I think it would have been more entertaining if she got angry at him. It's like I told you, I tried to warn you, and you didn't listen.
um, you know, I don't
if there was more.
I don't think that was really like I don't think that'd be really necessary because she goes to sit on the hill, where he normally would look out on the moon and really kind of self-reflect all his thoughts and appealing like feelings and stuff like that. And he sees Sally sitting there and he's just like, care if I join you, And I think that'd be kind of a good place to start with Nightmare Before Christmas 2 is really seeing them like that being their first official time building that connection together. And from there, like really springing into something new of like getting Sally out of her situation with the doctor. Because even though the doctor does have someone new that he created, he's relied on Sally for so long that it would become this new tension of, finally breaking that relationship with him and, her saying bye to her abuser. And I think that would be like a really good option for a second movie. And
I could see that.
and these are just thoughts and opinions on what a good second movie would be for. And y- hate to say like that makes a good movie, but it's a good emotional movie. It's a good learning lesson. Um
Hmm.
I just like movies that kind of make me think.
I get it. It's just one of those things where it's just the relationships are really vague
Which is
and
why Nightmare
unclear.
Before Christmas 2 would really help solidify that.
I mean, because again, like somewhere in all of this, Oogie Boogie plays a role, and then you have like the random mayor who's like trying to like keep using Jack for his social power, basically. The issues with the doctor and Sally, and yeah, it's just I don't know. It's like it's a bunch of hodge. The relationships and everything is a very hodgepodgey
Hmm.
in relation to the overall plot, which the basic plot makes sense,
Yeah.
but the relationships that carry us through are really, huh?
Which is why I'm just not a big fan of Sally because it's just kind of weird. I'm just kind of like, okay, she has like her key characteristics to helping Jack out, but other than those key characteristic things, she's really meh. She's
Yep.
very mid.
Yep.
And I definitely relate a lot more to Jack than I do. I mean, there's a lot of things for me to also relate with Sally, but like, you know, in terms of like everything that she goes through in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
or at the same time we're really going through Jack's story.
Yeah. And I think by having Sally and seeing her issues kind of pulled away from him.
Yeah, because I mean they're trying to pull in the direction of these two characters, but like in the timeline of the story, Jack's story is more important. And
Because you can see he really doesn't care for Sally until the end.
yeah,
He really doesn't. Like he's literally like just so invested in trying to figure out Christmas and everything. Like he's happy. For the first time in a while, he's feeling happy and excited. And he doesn't want that distraction. He's not thinking about Sally. He's thinking about Christmas.
yeah. Like, if anything, he's definitely not in the point of his life to be having a relationship with Sally, anyways.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, so like them being an iconic Halloween couple is really kind of like,
Dumb.
yeah,
And a stretch.
yes. Like it's yeah.
I just wish we could get more of Oogie Boogie being a villain and more.
I just think he's a fun character.
I think he's a fun character too.
That's it. Is I just think he's fun.
I just see it as like again, like
His room is cool. It's fun. It's weird.
I
It's
agree. I agree. But again, he's pushed as being a villain, and has been alluded to being a villain in the movie. I just wish we saw more of like,
We would need like another movie on why Oogie Boogie, was exiled from the town, essentially.
but not except because he was part of the This Is Halloween scenario because he was the shadow in the moon at night.
But he's also like, he's away from everyone. Like it's clear he can't
The
really.
tension between him and Jack,
Yeah.
like if we were to like relate it to Lion King, we know the issues between Scar and Mufasa and Scar pushing on how he's a villain. You can see that. Oogie, again, kidnap Mr. Santa Claus. Them bringing Santa to Oogie. That's more villainous than what Oogie did for the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Mm.
Like,
He's just a he's just a serial killer, is a good way to put it.
pretty much at this point, that's all we can really go off of. It's like, what is Oogie's deal?
He just
Why is he bad? Like such a badass, like bad guy.
he's a sadist. I don't know.
Masochist.
Yeah. He just enjoys torture. He loves gambling on people. Oh my god, he saw.
Oh my god.
Want to play a game?
Anyways, no,
Well,
I don't got anything else. I mean, this was an interesting conversation. I feel like
yeah. I feel like I brought some good things up.
you did. I mean, you did twist my arm a little bit on the movie, so I'll give you that.
Haha, I did it. Well, friends, let us know on how you feel about Nightmare Before Christmas. Do you really only like it because of the merchandising, or do you actually like the story?
And do you hate Sally? Well, give us your thoughts on Sally.
Zero's cute.
We like Zero.
I might go back to Build-A-Bear this upcoming weekend and get Zero because he has a glow-up pumpkin nose.
He does in the movie too.
I know, and I want the glow-up pumpkin nose. And I want to see if they have the pumpkin spice smell back, because if so, I'm putting that in Zero.
Bye, friends.
Bye. We'll see you next week.